What's up, everybody? This is Justin, the Board Game Roamer, and we are here with our first episode of our full playthrough of Dungeon Crusade. Super excited about this. Hopefully you've seen a couple other videos with the Kickstarter campaign, the reprint that's going on here in 2025, and we've talked about the changes. We've talked about the game. We've done a setup video. We've done the Avalon Adventure board game. So this is a continuation of that series. So definitely check out those other videos. So let's just basically jump in and get started. So what we've got here, we've got everything set up just like we did in the setup video. Let's jump in. So I'll show you right quick our heroes and what's going on with them, and then we can start the actual playthrough. All the process of seeding and all that sort of stuff for the quest and then finishing seeding the dungeon has already been done. So there's only a couple of things that we've got to do still left. And I've already gone ahead. So one of the first things that we do is when we start is we can, if you remember from the videos, we can either everybody rolls or get so much money and we can purchase things, or we start with our Avalon Adventure board game, the money and items that we've carried over. So we're going to do that. I've already picked out the items and spent the money and all that, so I've got that ready to go. So we'll take a look at that right quick and take a look at our heroes and who's got what, and then we will get started with the playthrough proper. This will be a full six hero playthrough. Not a 6-player playthrough. I guess it could be if you really wanted to be. A 6-hero playthrough, so that you can really see what it's like. We're going to start out. I talked a little bit about the combat. We're going to start out using the classic combat, and then after the first quest table, we'll move to the revised combat, which is a more streamlined, quicker combat. We'll be using the blitz movement, which is new to this, very recent change, and it's super exciting. So we'll be using that. And then we'll also be using the seeding process. So we talked a little bit about that in the other videos too. So we'll be doing that as we go in between quest tables and steps to kind of get some more stuff going out in the dungeon to potentially explore. So let's just check out what we got going on. So first thing we need to do is we are going to be using this. So this is a scalable reference difficulty card. So we are going to be using that to adjust the difficulty for the level 1, level 2 heroes on events and challenges in the encounter deck and treasure chest and trap cards. We're not using traps, but for the encounter cards and for treasure cards, any kind of check, we'll use this to modify that difficulty a little bit. We also need to pull out a tavern task because we have not done that yet. So we've got those shuffled and ready. We're going to pull out a tavern task. And our tavern task is the treasure hunters relaxing. At the tavern, the heroes are approached by... I'm reading this on the camera screen, so forgive me. Sin Ashbourne, he explained that his wife collects antiquities from around Avalon. He's asking the heroes to recover 5 treasure chests for her collection. During their adventures, the heroes need to bring back 5 treasure tokens on any celebration day. We get 8 life force, which is up here, and 500 gold. So that's actually a really good one because I'm always going to go for treasure chest. Okay. So, what else? Our difficulty, we're going to be playing on easy. So, when we look at our encounter board, let's see what that means. So that means we've got 4 minions that are going to be out in the dungeon. Our raid difficulty is 12, so that's where we roll the d20 on the spawn step and the minion step and see if they convert. And then our guardian difficulty will start at 19 instead of 20. That's to see if the guardians come out. I've already done the academy. I've already done the hero abilities. So our ranger is using Shadow Stalker, and Spiritual Endurance. So remember, we have 3 of these. We get rid of 1 randomly. So these are the 2 that he kept. So Spiritual Endurance, Shadow Stalker, and just by way of introduction, Shadow Stalker is it's like a ranged attack in the dungeon, not in a chamber, which is why that's X'd out, but in the dungeon to do extra damage. Super helpful, especially for like mobs that are running away. And then Spiritual Endurance is going to just give him more actions, so more turns. So that's good. So starts out with 1 turn, 2 extra turns, and then 3 extra turns. So 2, 4, and eventually 6 full actions, which is insane at the highest level. So that's the ranger. Then for our priest, we have Heavenly Arc. This is a channeled on her turn, but this heals everybody in the dungeon. A little bit of health and essence, and then we've got Healing Light. Is a here after the target self or fellow hero within an 8 square radius, so kind of a localized heal. You roll d6 and add 4, so 5 to 10 health. All right, so that's pretty good. So that is our priest. Then we have our knight. So this is our knight. So we've got tactical warfare, and we've got protector. Oh, these are kind of like, this is 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Yeah, I always leave them like 1. Whoops! Oh my gosh! Tactical warfare. 1, 2. Protector. Yeah, protector. Tactical warfare. There we go. So those are our things. So protector. Basically, he can absorb some damage to keep people safe. And then tactical warfare, he can redo his combat roll till he gets like maybe what he needs for a target number. So that's cool. Going to be very helpful. Our rogue has Vanish and Garrote. So Garrote, this happens in the chamber, okay? So she has a chance to do some damage. So let's discard the monster's card, deal 3 damage at the end of each combat round. The monster rolls a d6. So it's you get a bunch of damage, but it has a chance to leave. So maybe we would use this when we know we're about to kill it. And then Vanish. Basically, it lets the rogue move without being seen, so it won't trigger raiding. Can't move through walls or anything like that, and potentially get rid of tracking tokens, so she gets targeted by the guardian or something like that, which is pretty cool. Our mage has Magic Missile. Of course, it's Magic Missile. I mean, who doesn't like Magic Missile? That is a dungeon combat within 4 spaces, clear line of sight. So, and then Arcane Barrier, basically it's like a mage shield, right? So that's what he's got. Finally, Maheliak, our barbarian, has Frenzied Charge. Frenzied Charge and Chain of Spear. Chain of Spear is basically a hook, and he can drag them back to him. So if he can't get close enough to him, or he wants to be a little bit closer to something, he can do that. And then Frenzy Charge lets him move like additional 6 spaces to kind of charge into the enemy. So that's pretty cool. So those are all of our abilities potentially for our heroes, the powers. Yeah. So what did I do as far as money and as far as all that goes? I'm glad you asked. So let's just start and work our way down the line. So our mage is going to get this potion. The rejuvenation potion is from the Avalon Adventure board game. Leave that on him. That's 3 essence and 3 health restored. And then the ultra juice, that is essence. So just kind of getting him ready for potentially some spells. He starts with 12 essence and 8 health. So that's marked on this board. Weapons wise, he starts with an oak staff, and I purchased. I did not purchase this footman sword. Was something we found in the dungeon, so I added that mainly so he had 2 weapons, and with a -3 on this on his player board, this will make that a little less painful if he needs to attack with it. The important part is he gets 2 weapons. So when we do combat in the classic combat system, we definitely need that. Then we have King Redfeather, our ranger. I purchased a healing potion. I had 900 gold, by the way, and I spent all of it. Purchased a healing potion. He's got 10 health and 10 essence. He starts with his bow, which is a starting weapon. And then I went ahead and gave him this necklace that we found, but it is tier 2, so he cannot use it until he does some leveling. Next up, we have Maheliac on an elixir, which removes afflictions. He has 8 essence and 12 health. That's what he starts with. And then he starts with his starting weapon, and that's this axe. And then I went ahead and gave him the Troll's Tooth, just because that kind of synergizes well. Gives him a little bit more in his chaos, which is already pretty high, and physical, which he's good at. So that's him. Our knight, gave him a healing potion. He's got 8 essence, 10 health. He starts with a long sword. So this is his starting weapon, and I went ahead and gave him, I purchased a bow just to give him a second weapon. And he's got a +1 on range, so this would give him a +3 with ranged. So I thought that was pretty good. And it's tier 1, so he can use it. We have our rogue with 9 health, 9 essence. No potions or anything like that. Starts with the dull stiletto starting weapon. And I went ahead and gave her both the Outlaw Blade and the Cloak of Midnight. Those are tier 2 weapons. So she's going to have a really high mysticism score whenever that happens. We may switch that out at some point. We'll see. Nobody can use either one of those right now, so we'll wait till, maybe Celebration Day when we complete the first quest table to move that around. And last but not least is our priest, Jorah Oakhart, with 8 health and 12 essence. Went ahead and gave her a health potion because she doesn't have any healing yet. And she starts the game with the Disenchanted Scepter. That's her starting weapon. And I went ahead and gave her this dull axe because chaos, again, is one of her worst stats. And it's just a second weapon, so she can at least attack twice if she is alone. Cool. So that is that. Of course, remember all of our heroes do start with the counterattack card. I don't leave it out there with them because they literally all have it. So they'll all have this card, which lets them counterattack when the enemies attack them after the hero's turns. So yeah, I guess that's mostly it. So just by way of looking at what we're going to be focusing on for the first quest table, we kind of are down in this area because we have to clear out some stuff over here in the Tomb of St. Victus. we need to get, you see these red doors, we need to get in there to find the Baron's wine, but first we've got to go all the way up to the spider's lair at the top to get the key, because if you remember, that was one of those deals where we had the key that we have to find in order to unlock what is it? The Chamber of Ancient Depths. So that's what we're gonna do. Right. I guess let's get started. Really nothing else to do. So first, beginning of round one, of course, you have this handy reference sheet card if you need it. This card has there's two cards. One has the turn order, like all the phases, shows you what symbols are for warfare and attributes. And then there's another card that's the quick reference card, the second quick reference card, that will show you what free actions are and regular actions are. So, all right, let's get it. So upkeep happens. There's no upkeep. We don't have any afflictions. We don't have any torches. We don't have anything channeled. So now we need to do initiative token. And so this is where I think I'm going to try to run, at least to begin with, mostly groups of 3, but maybe 2 groups of 2. And then another group of 2 that's kind of dedicated to maybe raiding minions, stopping those. So I'm going to assign these, and then we'll take a look at those here in just a second. All right, so here we go. We've got them set up. I know that's hard to see. I don't have enough cameras to get all the shots that I need. I'm using an iPhone, so that's the best I can do, zoomed in with one camera for basically 2 cameras, but one for this anyway. So we've got our rogue, followed by the priest, Heliax third, or I'm going to use their classes because it's just easier. Our ranger's 4th, our knight's 5th, our mage is 6th. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start out by heading kind of one group up here to the north to get the key, or maybe both groups, I guess, and then they can come down and split, and one can take this stuff out, and then one can start clearing this. So that's what we're going to do. Now remember, we're using blitz movement, so movement will be much quicker. And one of the other things that we've got to remember is that we will also be working on that tavern task, so we want to get treasure chest. And hopefully we'll get lucky with that. Okay, so our rogue first. Remember blitz movement, so they get 1 blitz movement at the beginning. The blitz movement, essentially what it does is it allows them to travel to an adjacent orthogonal quadrant. So for example, we're right here, a rogue could move to here, or a rogue can move to here, or a rogue can move to here, as long as there's a pathway. And we move them on anywhere on that quadrant. Now, when we do that, if we there's 2 actions essentially. They're not really actions, the free actions that don't stop that movement. That's the treasure chest and discovering a mine. We can do that. So effectively, it's like we move. And normally when you move over one of those 2 things, you reveal it, and then we can continue to move, right? The important part about that is when you move, you would trace a path just like you would normally move, so that if any line of sight issues happen to convert minions into raiding or anything like that, you handle that way. So let's just go with her. Should I have changed the order here? I guess it doesn't matter, because I mean, ultimately they're just trying to get up there. Yeah, so we're going to use our blitz movement, and she's going to blitz. I'm actually going to skip this treasure chest for now. No, I'm not. She's got 1 more health. So we're going to land on that treasure chest. All right, so this token is going to come off, and remember, we collect 5 of these for the tavern task. So we're going to put that over here on the tavern task itself, so we know we got one of those. And we're going to draw a card from our treasure chest deck. Give it a quick shuffle. So it could be good, could be bad. Okay, and it is bad. Corrosive, poisonous gas. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Alright, already starting off with a bang. So, poisonous gas. As you raise the lid of the chest, a thick green poisonous gas is emitted, filling the air of this quadrant and all adjacent ones. Each hero within the affected area must test willpower 18 to keep from hitting types of fumes. On a fail, roll a d10. The result is essence loss. Heroes within chambers are safe. Now, remember, we're using the scalable reference card. So if we look at level 1, when we roll d20 for event challenge, treasure chest card, trap card, deduct 6 from the value printed on the card. So this 18, right, actually becomes a 12 because we're level 1, which is much, much, much better. And you notice that it says filling the air of this quadrant and all adjacent ones. So, oh, that sucks. Guess what that means? Look at where she's at. So that's adjacent, that's adjacent, that's adjacent, this is adjacent. So literally everybody has to make a roll. What the heck? Okay. Oh, dude, that is crazy. I do want to show you one thing. I'm not going to use it, but I do want to show you that it's out there. Alright, so this is actually an app. You get it released on the iPad, but I've got it on. This is just an app that was made a long time ago. I think it was when the original campaign ran. But this is a way, if you don't want to deal with like randomizing your combat rolls, doing the loot roll, rolling the dice, if you just want to like hit one button and let something do it for you, you can do that. So this app, it doesn't, it just makes it a little bit easier. So if you'll notice, you see that same iconography from the UI board, right? So what you can do is when you do combat, and I'm showing you this to show you that there is a way to do a D20, although this is probably not the treasure chest, are probably not the best way to do it. Let's say that you fight something with ranged, mythical, and spiritual. So you pick those warfare types, hit randomize, and it randomizes them. So this is the order that you do them in. So range followed by mythicals followed by spiritual. And then you can choose, am I going to be doing combat? Am I attacking in that phase? Am I defending in that phase? Right? You have to remember which weapon you're using in which, right? Because it's not, it doesn't tell you that. But let's say that I'm attacking in this one, I'm defending in that one, and then I'm attacking in spiritual. So once I do that, you see at the top is your dice, your D6 and your D12. So I hit roll. So there's my roll. So I rolled a 7 for ranged, a 13 for mythical, and a 13 for spiritual. So I can use that instead of rolling the dice. And then when I'm done, I can use the roll and do that. Now, like if you just left this up, you can roll multiple times. So like if I wanted to do a check, I could just leave that up and say, I could get 5, right? I get a 5. Actually, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. So that's just something you can use if you want to. I think it's cool. Like maybe if you had multiple people playing, that might be a quick way to do it. But probably the odds are, if you're doing this, you would rather roll the dice. But it is an option, and I just wanted to show you that because I haven't seen a whole lot of people really talking about that over the years. But it is something that exists, just so you know. Okay, So back to regular scheduled programming. So all of our people, oh my god, this is horrible. All of our people have to make this roll. So let's just go through. Oh my god, this is horrible, y'all. So willpower 18, but remember because of our reference card, that's a -6. So really, it's a willpower 12. All right, so let's just do them one at a time. Starting with our rogue, a 12, she has a 1, so an 11 or better. Okay, she passes. And remember, if we fail, it is a D10. A D10 essence lost. That is so bad. So we go ahead and get my D10. I'll just roll them both at the same time. We have our priest with a +3. Our target's 12. Okay, so she rolled a 12, so she's good. We've got Maheliac with a +2 because this is willpower. 8, 9, 10. He misses. That means he loses 2 essence. So he's going to go from 8 to 6. Okay. Our ranger's got a +2. Oof. That's a 7. That's nowhere near enough. So he loses. It's a D10, right? Notice essence loss. Gosh. I mean, it's not health, so I guess that's good, and it's early on, so I guess that's kind of good. He loses 6 essence. That puts him down to 4. My lord. That is spicy. Sabrinius, our knight, gets a +3. 9. Oh, just barely. He lost all of his essence. Good lord. Finally, our mage with a +3. That is an 8. 10, no, 11. So, but he only loses 4, so he goes from 12 to 8. So that's not like the worst, okay? But it ain't great. But it could have been much worse. All right. Yeah. So not horrible. All right. So remember, we moved her from here, and we just continued moving around. She's going to continue moving. So since I went this direction, she can end anywhere on this quadrant that I want her to end on. She just has to be on that quadrant. So I'm going to opt to end her right there. Now, at this point, she starts her normal actions, which are 2. She's got a movement of D6 +2 because she doesn't have a torch. So let's roll. Use this D6. Maybe it'll show up. Okay. D6 +2. Remember, we want to head up in this direction. So we're going to have to go up and then over. D6 +2. Okay, 6 +2. That's an 8. Wow, that's good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the reason I did that is because that takes me over the top of one of our mining locations. So let's reveal it and see. Okay, that is mining location B. Now I did not buy any pickaxes. But that will be something that maybe I need to do at some point, for sure. And right. Okay, that's her. Our priest will go next. Now, sorry, she's got 1 action left. I could try to get her into this dungeon. Right, I mean, she could get into the dungeon. And then we could try to rally, say, the priest into that dungeon. So maybe, let's just show that. That way you can kind of see what rallying. So when we rally, we can rally up to 2 heroes. Right, so the 2 that are after us in initiative order. So since she was first, she could rally the second, third. And essentially what that does is when she goes into a combat, into a chamber, they take their turns, and their turn, they essentially immediately take their turn, and all they're doing is they're just trying to get in there so that they can assist with the combat that she's trying to do if we went in here. So let's just go ahead and do that. Her second action, well, let's see. Do I want to do that, though? Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I think we might as well just get right into it, right? So we did our blitz movement. We used our first action to go in there. So our second action is going to be to move into the chamber and begin combat. That's one action. So there you go. A 5, we just needed literally anything. So we're going to move in here. Now, the thing about rallying is that we have to spend 1 essence per hero that we want to rally. So she's going to have to spend 9. She's going to go down to 7 essence in order to rally our priest and Maheliac. Now, when we rally, what we do is we flip over their initiative token. So this is a priest initiative token. We flip it to the rally side, right, to show that their turn's essentially been taken. Then we'll do that for both of those, right? The priest. So, oopsie. There's the 3. Flip it to rally. So then they're going to basically immediately, essentially take their turns to try to get to where she's at. When they do that, they are also able to use the blitz movement. And if they're short any movement points, they can spend 1 essence per space in order to make it into the dungeon. Now, if for some reason they don't, say that they're short, then they're just short, right? That's their turn. They don't get to do anything. They don't like reset or whatever. They're just kind of hanging out in the hall. They didn't make it in time. So let's go with our priest. And remember, when I'm moving like, when I do the blitz movement, it's like I'm going 1 space, 1 space, 1 space. All right, so a lot of time during this playthrough, I'm just going to pick these up and move them. Just know that I'm looking at the path and checking that out accordingly. So we're going to do the same thing we did with our rogue. We get a d6 plus 2 for her movement. That's a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we get a d6 plus 2. So we just need 4 to get into the chamber with her second action. That's a 3 plus 2 is 5. So she is in the chamber. Maheliac. Again, blitz movement to here. A d6 plus 2 for him as well. 6 plus 2 is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then whatever we roll, he makes it. So everybody's in. All right, so here we go. Time for the big reveal, right? So we got 2 tokens in this chamber. We have our quest token. That is sideways. And then we have a monster token. So we're going to flip over this token. Okay, so it could have potentially been a monster. Remember in the seeding process, sometimes we would add empty, well, I didn't show you the full thing. Those cards, remember our quest cards sometimes would have you add monsters and then empty chambers, stuff like that. So fortunately for us, and of course we don't know, right, because it's in a quest chamber, what it is. It was an empty chamber, so we flip this over. Oh, okay, well, it's equally empty. So no key, nothing in the chamber. All right. Well, that's quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. Okay. So that's done, right? So that's 3 of our heroes gone and done. Wow. Okay. I was kind of not expecting that. I guess that's what kind of the good news is that's one that we don't have to clear. The bad news is she just spent 2 essence to find an empty room. But hey, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and have our other heroes. Let's go ahead. And what I do too, just FYI, even though I didn't rally the heroes, when I complete somebody's turn, I'll either take the token off, right, and set it off their player board, or I'll flip it to rally just to note that they've gone. So I'm going to pull that. Or actually, It's going to take their tokens completely off. That's probably the simplest way to do it, because I'll confuse myself if I don't. All right, so King Red Feather. Again, we probably need to start moving this way. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to start moving this way. And when we seeded the dungeon, that shouldn't be there because it's an empty chamber. We're going to start moving over this way, so that I can show you this secret room, and let's see if we can do anything with that. Primarily, I really want the mage to look at the secret room because it's going to take some wisdom saving throws, and he's got the best, along with the priest, but the priest is already gone. All right, so Cain. Oh, let's see here. Cain is going to move. Actually, we're going to kind of go a little bit out of order. There's a you can't see it, but there is actually a treasure token right there. So he's actually going to move. He's going to go down. He's going to pass by this door. Okay, so secret room time. So when we go by the secret room, we don't get to open it or anything like that. But it's basically like this represents our chance to discover that there is a room. So there's kind of two steps. There's a chance to discover that there is a room there, determine whether there actually is a room there or not. And then if there is a room, then there's another step where we try to unlock the door. So for now, right, what we do is we take this token. This is just a generic token, right? Just to mark that, hey, that is a secret room. We're going to take that, and then we're going to take a bag or whatever, and so you're going to have these tokens, right? So these tokens are all tokens that are very simple. It tells you, very simple when you see them. It tells you in the bottom number in the left is the number of attempts, and the number in the bottom right is the target. So we've got three attempts to do a wisdom check and get a 12, right, with our modifiers. So you put these in a bag or a cup or something and mix them up. And I'm not looking. I had them in bags just to save space a little bit. I may end up putting them back in bags. I like the bags better personally. So let's go with that one. All right, so we have, so this one's going to be tough. A 3 and an 18. Wow. Yikes. Now, he doesn't have to stop, right? This is just now that we have gone by there, now we kind of, this is going to represent how hard it is to find it. And that 3 is not 3 per hero. That 3 attempts is 3 total attempts. So I'm just going to have him actually continue to move and land on this treasure token. So again, that's 2 of our 5 treasures that we need. We're again going to take our treasure deck. I shuffled in the one that we had earlier, right? So they don't go out, they don't get discarded. So we could draw them again. So you could have a really great run where you just find mounds and mounds of treasure. You could have a really bad run where just everything horrible happens to you. Or you could have a mediocre run where you have some bad stuff, but then you find some really good cards too. All right, so more shuffling. Boom. Give it a cat weasel cut. We draw it and we get loot. Okay. To your surprise, you have found a legendary piece of gear. Flip over cards in the loot deck and take the first legendary piece of gear you find, then reshuffle the loot deck. Okay, and we're looking for legendary, which is orange. So let's shuffle this back in. Shuffle there. All right, so this is different, right? When we look at the loot deck, we're looking at this full deck, not what's in the blacksmith shop, right? So this ridiculously thick deck is what we're going to draw from. All right, so let's get to drawing. So we've got our loot deck here. I will give it somewhat of a shuffle as best I can with the ridiculously huge amount of cards that there are. Piled up, and let's give it a cut. Right there, looks good. All right, so we're going to flip over cards from the top till we get an orange. That is a green, and we're looking for orange in that top right corner. Junk loot. this is what we find. So it's a tier 3 armor of the maidens. Oh, +2 to agility and +4 to range. Well, that's ironic that our ranger's the one that found it. So this goes to his inventory. So this is free. I mean, imagine we'd have to pay 700 gold to buy this if it was even in a blacksmith shop. So we're just going to add that into his inventory. He can carry, so apparently every hero has a bag of holding. They can carry, there's no limit to the amount of items that they can carry, but they can only have equipped like 2 weapons, piece of armor, necklace, or amulet, and rings. Like there's limitations on what they can equip, but they can carry in their pack anything and have it with them. Of course, alternatively, if we really wanted to, we could have Albus go and sell this at a blacksmith shop. And when he does that, it doesn't have anything to do with this number of gold here, right? That's what it costs us. It just has the rarity. They don't sell for near what you pay for them, but that is an option. So we're just going to add this to our ranger's inventory. So that's good. And then it said we take these cards. So here's the cards that we drew that were not those, and we shuffle them back into the deck. So usually I just kind of pick it up, and throw that in there, and then give it a quick shuffle as best I can. That's a decent shuffle. That number to it, and this deck is good to go for the next time around. Nice. Okay, so what are we doing next? He's going to continue his movement. He's not looking in there because his wisdom is pretty low comparatively, so I don't want to waste attempts on that room. With him, we're going to do that. Well, we're not going to waste attempts, but we're going to use our mage to search this. Yes. So I think he's just going to do. So that was his blitz. I think he's just going to do normal movement and keep heading this direction. So first of 2 actions, he's again a d6 +3, so he's a little bit faster. That's a 3, so he's got 6 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. This way I don't want to go. I'll just keep going this way. 5, 6. Second action, d6 +3. Gosh, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think he's going to stop there because it takes an action. Well, so it's kind of a little bit confusing. So if you look at your actions, you see one of your actions is move onto a treasure chest token and draw a treasure chest card. So he's moved onto it. So it's kind of like the treasure tokens are free, but you stop on the treasure chest. So, but it's different. Actually, that may not be true. I may have done that wrong. Yep, I did that wrong. I messed up earlier. So when they're blitz movement, if they end on a treasure chest token, they can like open up the treasure chest, but they can't continue moving. I was wrong. They can't continue moving once they do that. So we're gonna do another treasure chest card, and let's see again. Come on, don't fail me. Let's see what we got. We've got, oh my gosh, okay, another loot with purple. Like we literally just did that. All right, shuffle it back in. You saw it. be loaded up. Let's get our deck. And same thing, let's just start flipping them over. So we've got green, nope. White, nope. Blue, nope. White, nope. Blue, green. That's a really nice green though. Oh, fakery. Oh, that would have been a good one. No. Oh my gosh. I promise you, good lord, there are purples in here. I'm getting everything but a purple. My goodness. Dude. Dude, come on. This is ridiculous. Okay, there we go. So, tier 3 Gloom Sword. It's plus 3 damage, so that's good. It's only plus 2 to physical, but it is plus 3 damage. So, he'll throw that in his infinite inventory. So let's see. Yep. So that ends his action, his movement. So he is done. So now let's go to our knight. All right, and so we're gonna have him do the same thing. He's gonna head down. He's gonna head down and towards this way, towards these chambers. So blitz movement gets him move to here, and then he's gonna do both his actions are gonna be to move a d6 plus 2. So that's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, we can't go in here because these doors are locked. We've got to find the key up there. Oh my gosh, and then 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's horrible. So that takes care of him. Finally, we have our mage. His blitz movement is going to go... I'm actually going to end him here. Am I going to end him there? Actually, I'm going to end him right here so that he's in front of the door. All right, so just in case, we're good to go. So what are we going to do next? Next, we're going to search, right? So our action is going to actually be we're going to find exactly how it's, move adjacent and attempt to discover a secret room. So, again, we're going to take, remember our target was 18, we get a plus 3, so we can spend an action to roll. So let's do that. We need 18, which means on this, with his plus 3, we need a 15 or better. A 10, not it. Oh, a 14, that's just insulting. So, we've tried twice. And each time we try, we have to mark that on the door because you don't have to do it all at once. Multiple people can attempt, right, to find it. So we'll take some tokens here. I'm walking all the way over here. My tokens are all the way over there. It's the whole reason that it got me. So what I do is I put some of these trays out, right? So I've got some money. I've got my tokens, my damage tokens, tracking tokens, just to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to take 2 of these tokens. I'm going to put them on top of that. So that shows that I've done this twice. Now, if I do it one more time and I fail, what's going to happen is I'll take the tokens off and I'm going to flip. I would flip this over to the lock, say lock. So this says basically I'm not, I didn't discover the chamber door. It doesn't exist, right? So that way we know we can't go into that location. If I was successful, I would draw another lock token, and I would be spending actions to try to basically pick the lock, right? So that's how that works. But that is all of our heroes. that is all of our actions done already. It's insane. Oh my gosh, I forgot. You do draw an encounter card after you do the upkeep. The first encounter card is always an interlude card. So, yeah, I apologize. I should have done that. That was an interlude card, so I knew there wasn't going to be anything happening, so I didn't even think about it. It's a freebie. First round is free, and then after that, it becomes not free. That's what you need to know. Oh gosh, I forgot to do my guardian roll too. Good grief, I got so excited about doing the heroes. I did not even do that. Alright, so let's roll. So we should have, if we look at the order, good grief. Upkeep, then encounter. So we at the beginning of the turn, beginning of the round, we should have done upkeep. There wasn't anything. Then an encounter, which is the interlude card. Then we roll for the guardian. Remember, it's a 19 or better. We rolled a 9, so no guardian would have spawned. Then we do our hero actions. Then we go to monster. Okay. Go into monster. Cool. So as you recall, when we talked about the UI board, we have this minion track, and it's currently set to 4. So what that means is right now we're going to check, and we're going to say, do we have 4 minions out in the dungeon roaming about? Obviously, we just started, so the answer is no. So we're going to take our level 1 minion deck, and we're going to have it shuffled, which I've already done. Right? So, level 1 minions, right? There's a bunch of them. Get it shuffled up. And we need that number of 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these out one at a time, and then get their standee, and then we're going to spawn them in, and we'll go through that process. So first one we have is a blue skeletal grunt. Interesting. Then we have a red orc archer. Reds are bad. They're like the toughest versions. And then we have a green shadow dweller. Okay. Oh man. Okay. All these. Oh gosh. And then we have. Gosh dang it. A red wraith. Good lord. Okay. Well, this should be interesting. All right. Let's get them out. Blue. Let me get all the standees out, and then we'll go from there. All right. So pulled them all out. These standees. Right. These standees come to the game. These bases. Did not come in the original game. I believe, I don't remember if Roger's going to convert these to become the standard ones in the base game, or he's just going to have that as an optional add-on. But these are actual arrows, right? Because when they get out on the board, like, you would normally have to turn them to face whichever direction they're going on the board for movement, and it's very difficult to follow, to figure out. And it was always like where they're looking, but some of the art's not like super clear on that to me, and I would get confused. So I got these arrows bases. I mean, to me, if you're gonna play this, you gotta have the arrow bases. It just makes life so much better, so much easier. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the main page. Boom. And we're going to seed, so to speak, all these locations. So we're going to go in the same order that we drew these. We're going to roll a d8, which is going to tell us where, what spawn point they come in on, and then we're going to roll the patrol die, which is going to tell us the direction that they're moving. Now, minions, just like heroes, use blitz movement, which means wherever they spawn, they move a quadrant in the direction of their patrol route die. And we'll talk about whether they can make it with their roll and then what happens, or how that works exactly. So let's roll this up. And I know it's going to be hard to see, but I'm just showing you now what the dice look like, and then I'll let you know what the results are. So starting with the skeletal grunt, we have an 8 purple. An 8. And these are not, so since the configuration is different, the number, like that's a 6 there, a 7 there. 8 happens to be on this board, right? So it's an 8, and we rolled purple, so he's going to be heading on the purple route. So, blitz movement. Okay, so the way this is going to work is the minion is on a skull pile. So if it starts on a spawn space or skull pile, its first blitz movement, it's going to move immediately following the path to the next skull pile or spawn point. All right, so let's get a little closer. So here's our minion, right? Now, remember, we treat this minion as it's doing its blitz movement like it's doing normal movement to follow the path. So the blitz movement, its goal is to get to this spawn point, right, or the skull pile, I mean. It'll do that by moving along this route. Here's the thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going 1, 2, 3. Yeah. It's going to move. When it gets here, it's within 4 of our hero. Now, if that along its path would have taken it adjacent to a hero, right? It would attack. We'll talk about if it starts like on a square later because it's gonna happen. But for right now, since it's within 4 of a hero, it immediately converts into a raiding minion. Okay, so we're gonna put that on its card, and then that ends its blitz movement. Now it's gonna do its normal movement, just like it normally would, to head out of the dungeon. Okay, so this could be not good. And remember, when we're talking about that, it's the shortest distance to get to the siege tile, right, the exit of the dungeon, and it's going to follow the arrow. So in this particular quadrant, there's a bloody arrow here. There's not multiple exits, right? The heading north is the shortest distance. So we're going to roll the d6, 3, and it's got a +2, so 5. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, heading towards the exit. So what does this do? Well, this means that it is past a hero, right? Adjacent square. It's going to attack. This is the hit and run tactics that are mentioned in the rulebook. The important part to note about that is that it can only do this once on its turn. So let's say, for the sake of argument, let's pretend that Albus was like an actual hero, and maybe he was right here, right? So when the minion gets here, he can only attack once per turn. So he's going to, based on his class, right? Class preferences, class 1, class 2, class 3. That's the order that he would pick to attack. He would attack one of those two, and then the other one he would not be able to attack. Now he'd have to go around him, right? Because movement, he can't pass through him. But that's how that would work. So let's just go ahead and do combat since we're here, right? So again, we're going to look at the card. So we have, let's pull it back up here. We have physical, mythical, and arcane. Okay, well, arcane is good. I'm glad I gave. Okay, yeah, arcane. That's good. Right. So we're gonna get our tokens: physical, mythical, and arcane. All right. Now remember, since this is a minion attacking a hero, they would normally only defend. Now they can choose with counterattack, which is not channeled. May be activated during the monster phase when a monster is about to attack an adjacent hero. When activated, the hero may select one phase of combat to attack in instead of defending in, and you can always use this, but it costs an essence, right? And all of our heroes have one of those cards. So let's go down here and let's do a little bit of combat, and let's see what happens. All right, so here are our weapons for our hero. So what we're gonna do, this is our mage. And Albus is, let me put him back. There we go. what we do is we're going to randomly select with minions. These are different than champions or guardians. We're going to randomly select one of these warfare types, and that's what it's going to attack with. And then we're going to have the option to counter, right? Instead of just defend, we could potentially attack it. We do have a weapon. We want to spend an essence, we can do that. So we're going to roll. What I do is I set them out usually, and I roll a d3. Okay, 1. Yes, that is what we want. So we're definitely going to spend an essence. So we're going to go from 8 to 7 to counter. We're going to use our staff. They both do 1 damage. It doesn't matter what weapon you use. Like what values printed here is irrelevant when you're combating. These give you bonuses regardless of whether you're using them for that particular warfare role or not. So these 2 will go away. So we've got a +3. If we look at our skeleton, we need an 8 or better. So we take our D12 and our D6 green. We spend our essence, so we are, technically we are attacking, and we're going to show we're attacking with that weapon. We need an 8 total. We have a +3, so we just need a total of 5. There we go. 5 and 3 is 8. +3 is 11, which is higher than the 8. So we do 1 damage. Now, this guy did not, as Skeleton Grunt, did not have any on defense or on attack or anything like that. No special abilities. So he just straight up takes a damage. He has 2 health. So hopefully we can take him out in the next round. Because he's raiding, remember, he is heading towards the village, and we do not want him to head and get to the village. Okay, cool. So I think I moved him the full movement. When they do the hit and run, like he's gonna move his full movement. Pretty sure I did, because that was here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I moved him his full movement. Okay. We would normally roll to see if he converted at the beginning of his turn to a rating. That roll would have failed. No, that roll would have actually. Yeah, but it didn't matter, because even if he had, he'd be going in the same direction, doing the same thing. So, cool. Orc Archer's next. So we've got a 6 and a green. 6 is here. Green is going to go down this way. So he starts on a spawn point skull pile, so he moves to there. Then we're going to roll the patrol route die again. And it's blue, so it is literally right back to where he came from. So when they start on a skull pile, they're going to move to another skull pile basically twice. Actually, let me go back and retcon this slightly. So when he was here, he'd start his blitz movement. And, well, no, that's right. We did it right. Because that ended his blitz movement as soon as he got there. Then he uses regular action. Okay. Right. And what I also do, since we're back here, I just go ahead, like if they're on a spawn point or skull pile, I just go ahead and roll. I just go ahead and roll this die and point their arrow in the direction they would be going when their next turn starts. So he's going to be pointing towards, okay, so he's going to be going back along the blue. And that's the thing, right? Because it's random, they could just go or they could move all over the place. You never know. But I did the same thing, didn't I? So let's go back. So he spawned on the 6. Let's do this again. First thing we do is we roll to see if he's rating. That's a 13. Okay, crap, he is rating. So, oh no, this is not good at all. Not good at all. So he's going to use his blitz movement to head towards the direction of the arrows. The arrows say head out this way. So he's going to move towards the exit because we rolled a 13 boo to turn him into a raiding minion. Okay, so this is not good for us. So what's going to happen is Sword Archer, because he's raiding, he's always going to head towards the siege tile, right? Because that's the exit. And it's going to be the shortest path. We're going to use the blitz movement to do that. So he starts out on a spawn point, or skull pile. But because he's raiding, we're taking the shortest path. So I believe the way that it works, and Roger may have to clarify me on this because I don't. This is one example that I didn't think of when we were working through this. So this blitz movement is going to take him here, right? Because that's one skull pile towards the exit. A second movement, and normally he would use another movement action to go to the next skull pile, which would be right here, which is not quite out of the dungeon. But since his goal is to get out of the dungeon, then I believe he would roll the d6 for his movement, which is a d6 plus 3, to see if he can make it to that siege tile. So roll a 3, so that's 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, he's on the siege tile, okay, but we're very, very, very lucky because he being on the siege tile, he still has to have a movement point to go from the dungeon into the village over here. So basically, next turn we've got to stop him. Now the good news is he only has 1 hit point, so we definitely have a chance. The bad news is the only person close is the mage that could probably get to him unless we run somebody back from here, like over, and then hope that they could get enough movement to get around here and then up and over to him. So probably the mage is going to determine whether we have that happen or not. Wow. Okay, this is clearly going to be an interesting playthrough. All right. Well, let's go. Let's just keep trucking, right? Shadow Dweller, 6 in orange. 6 orange heads up there. So he follows, gets to here. He's going to spend his action to essentially blitz the same direction. Whoops. I'm grabbing a door. Blue, he goes up and around and over. Boom. To 5. And then we're going to say he's facing purple, which is heading north on his next move. So he's good. Oh my God, did I really just do that? I did not roll the d20. I do not know why I have such a hard time rolling that. Roll a 7. He's not raiding. Okay, so let's just roll all these for the raid. So we're gonna roll the d20 to see if it's raiding, the direction, and the 8d8 for the spawn point, just to get it all done at one time. All right, so great. So it's an 8. Just here. He is raiding. My goodness. So he would head north. So how does this work? All right. So normally he would go into a skull pile. So he's gonna move. He's raiding though. All right, I'm gonna assume that he would basically move to like normal movement. Moving. He would get to here. This is blitz movement. He would This just know that this may not be right. Okay, these rules are still new, and I'm not 100% sure. This is a case that I had not thought of, and did not think to ask about talking to Roger. So, um, because normally a minion would move like in the direction twice if it's raining, and it's always the shortest route. So, I guess he would go blitz move like normal towards the next skull pile closest to where he wants to be, and then from there move. I guess I'm not 100% sure. That's what we're gonna say. So he would normally move like this. He'll get here, right? He'll pass. This is where our hero's at. So I mean, I'll get clarification from Roger. At some point in time, I feel like he's gonna be next to the mage. Okay. So yeah, let's just know that, and I'm gonna do the best I can to figure the other out from Roger. So he will get an attack. We have the Orc Archer has ranged chaos and spiritual. So what I do is I'll do the quick combat here. Gonna roll that. So ranged is what he attacks in. Ranged for him is an 11. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and again use an essence. So that's gonna take us down to 6 to fight back with our staff. We need an 11. We have a +0, so it's just going to be a straight 11. And we get a 6, so we fail. So our mage takes the damage, goes from 8 to 7. I guess he would continue to the skull pile. I don't know if he would stop. Because normally with blitz movement, if he starts to turn adjacent to a hero, he attacks a hero, and he goes to the nearest skull pile, and then do his normal movement. So I guess he's going to the skull pile, attacking the hero, and then he does his normal movement. So, and his normal movement is D6 plus 3. It's a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Gosh, same thing. He's got a 5, so he makes it onto the siege tile, but he doesn't make it off of the siege tile. Oofta. Good Lord. Okay, that's rough. And that is the first round. So now you got a little bit of an idea. You can see, you can see the movement, right? When we started, we've got already folks way up here. We got folks over here, all the way down here. It's a lot quicker than the standard normal movement that we would do. Now, this, right? These guys also move, right? So it's rough for that reason. So really what's going to have to happen, hopefully, is that he can get up here and kill. They both have one hit point. So if the mage can get up here and hit both of them, then attack them each once and hit both times, then we can kill both of them. Otherwise, when they, unless somebody else can get over there to help, but potentially the terror track could go up, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay, cool. So that is the end of the first round. Hopefully, this gives you a good idea of sort of how a normal round goes. Subsequent rounds, I'm hoping, will be a lot quicker. This is definitely a longer game. This blitz movement, and then when we go to the revised combat, will make things go much quicker. But It's definitely one of those that you're going to put out on the table and you're going to have to leave it for a while if you want to play it all the way through. I would say if you just sat down and you really focused, and maybe even you had multiple people to help manage the heroes so that you weren't having to think about all that and like strategize all that by yourself. Um, it's going to be 4 or 5 hours, I would think. With 6 heroes, it's going to be much longer. Um, you play the solo with basically up to 3 because you have your hero and then up to 2 hired henchmen, so basically 3 heroes. Um, but yeah, that is that is interesting. So, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, hanging out with me while we do this playthrough of Dungeon Crusade, Book 1 of Genesis of Evil. Check out the Kickstarter. Hopefully this is giving you an idea of how the game plays if you're not familiar with the game. If you are familiar with the game and you're backing to get some of the content or whatever, hopefully you're enjoying the playthrough if you already know something about the game. And if you have any questions, any comments, anything about the game that you want to talk about or you have some thoughts about, definitely leave them in the comments below. And I will see you, my friends, in the next video as we continue our playthrough of Dungeon Crusade, Book 1, A Genesis of Evil. I'm Justin, the Board Game Roamer, and I will see you, friends, in the next video. Bye, guys.